I'm Tanja Pavlov. I'm from NGO Group for EDFO. It is NGO engaged in the field of migration. And in the last few years, we tried to research migration of high qualified people because we see huge potential for the development of our country, for democratic and economical development. And it is not enough used or visible in our country.
My name is Dimitrije Vujadinovic. I am culture researcher. I am member of ERIC Arts. It's an institute for research, culture policy and arts situated in Bonn, and I'm director of the Balkan Club Foundation. My main interest in research is the culture policy. So I present in this conference relations between mobility of artists and culture policy, particularly concerning the Western Balkan countries and Serbia, of course. And of course, my interest is how this mobility should be supported, what are results, what our society losing, what we can give to the European culture scene, but also what we accept from the European culture scene from the artists that are working in abroad.
So we try to show that migration has this development potential because in Serbia and in the Western Balkan region, when people speak about migration, they speak about refugees, internally displaced people, and they are burden for our communities instead of because they have really potential also, these refugees and forced migrants, but nobody think about their potential. Usually they think about them like a burden for the countries. And also when they speak about migration, it's an issue of security issues for the European Union. How are people, when we become a member of European Union, everybody will go to European Union and we will be threat for them.
Yeah.
So we try to do research, for example, to do this migration potential, to identify migration potential of Serbia in 2009. And then we discovered that 78 people have never thought about leaving the country. Only 19% people think about it. And when we ask them if you did some steps towards implementation of your idea to go abroad, there are only 6% of people that they did something. And when we try to research this real potential, and that are people who ask for the permission, working permission, or how to say?
The permit?
Permit, yes.
Yeah. The legal permit.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. It's only 1.5% of people, and it's 30,000 people from Serbia.
Yeah.
So first, it's not so huge number, and second, migration can really bring lots of knowledge, contacts, and skills in the countries. So if you treat them like potential, then you can use this potential. And if you treat them as a threat, then it will be a threat for your country. This potential for democratic and economic development, it's not recognized.
But if we speak about creative potentials, which means high educated people, if we speak about artists, and then you can find that about 60% of high educated people, particularly people who are very ambitious people, let's say, they look and they try to find a way how to leave the Serbia. The question was why they are.
You mean leave, actually immigrate?
Leave. Some of them think about in the first moment from emigrate. Some of them think about, okay, we are going to make PhD. But it's a question when they are finished their PhD, how many of them will come back to Serbia? This is a really question. So I find out that Serbia is in a situation to losing their creative capacity. Okay? So that's a problem. That of course there is a political problem, but it's an economical problem of Serbia. Without, nowadays we have mainstream, I would say mainstream in Europe and the EU. It is a creative Europe. Europe now thinking about where is the future position of the Europe in the global world. And many of countries, particularly small countries like the Nordic countries, they find that the future position of them as a society is a creative society, to be creative. I think about mobility as a positive. But if we speak about migration, that's something else. So we have to distinguish mobility and migration.
I think that it is most important, because if somebody immigrates, it's okay. Because if you don't have conditions here, it's waste, it's brain waste.
Yeah.
How many people coming? How many people use mobility to come in your country and support culture production in culture scene in your country? So it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
We have only one way, which we have nowadays in Serbia, which means people emigrated, go somewhere else, but not people from another culture scene coming in Serbia. Then we are facing with a problem. So mobility and immigration, of course, generally speaking, it's a positive. But only if it's a two-way street. Not it's only one-way street.
But there is up-down and bottom-up approach. So you ask who should develop these connections between people. So it is possibility that people by themselves
like the artists
develop
doing
artists, yes, but also there is need support of the government, because if you would like to have this capacity that realized, you need support of the government, you need to institutionalize this practice. Because in that case, if it's only on the people, and if they don't have support of the government, then it will be sporadic and without synergy, and it can be achieved so much effect like without governmental support.
Then we can speaking about culture policy.
Yes.
So from one side we have a state culture policy which is not interesting to support mobility or to migration. From other side we have very creative potentials here, very creative artists, and somehow this situation inspired them to find new way, to find new creativity. I spoke once with one lady from the Norway, and she said, "Oh, we have a big problem in the art scene in Norway. We have too much money." I said, what is the problem?
I can relate with South America.
Yes. What is the problem? She said, "Yes, look at this. We have too much money, but we have no challenge. We are not fighting for something new, because we live very comfort life, and now we miss some challenge. We miss some fighting, something which we want to do and how to do." So it is a paradox. You're completely right. For example, nowadays the independent scene, where you can find in the Russian, in ex-Soviet Republic, for example, now states, because people used to know fighting there, and in the Western, with the strong cultural creative industry, somehow they try to find good job in creative industries, to have a good life.
Sometimes you are forced to create.
They are very creative, but something wrong, in my opinion, with that. Yes, they're using aesthetics, but somehow they forgot ethics. So every artwork, every piece of art has these two sides, aesthetics and ethics, system of value. That is exactly what I'm insisting of, system of value. Are we better? What kind of life we are living? How human we are? How solidarity we are? All these questions, who we are.
Now it's easier to transfer knowledge from abroad to our countries, because we have this developed technology, computers and all these Skypes and these different networks. So, but it's surprising that there is no strategy how to use this new technology for the sharing knowledge, idea.
Technology gives us possibility, but also dangers. possibility and dangers. Possibility, yes, that we can freely communicate it all over the world, but at the same time, possibility to be controlled. So we should think about both of these sides. We know about new law that United States administration tried to concerning the internet. Yes. Yeah. So we should be very careful. Creative environment is important that we keep creative potentials in Serbia. In that sense, artists, arts, scene, culture production is extremely important. When I say culture productions and creativity, first of all, I also think about independent scene, young artists, some people who try to find new way of aesthetic, of ethic, of course, system of value, of course, because we find out, I mean, we researchers and most of the artists who are dealing with the independent artists, let's say, or independent scene, who are dealing with independent scene, that something is wrong nowadays with the system of value. This liberal system, economic, put most of the creative potential in culture industries. But the interest of culture industry is a profit. So we have now dictation of culture industry, multicultural corporations, and make a profit. What's happened in Europe? There is no possible to have economic develop ignoring culture and arts. It should be include holistic